All right, in this video, we're going to be discussing how to scale your Airbnb business to over $100,000 per year and how you can avoid the headaches that come along with scaling your business. If you are new to this channel and you're unfamiliar, my name is Dylan. I'm currently an Airbnb host that has 12 different properties in my portfolio that do about $200,000 a year, all of which I own, 0 of them. I am simply renting the space and posting it on Airbnb, of course, with the landlord's permission. And I'm making these videos simply because I was once broke and I do not want you to be broke. And I believe that Airbnb is one of the many ways to financial freedom. So with that being said, let's go and hop to it. And I'm going to share with you 3 principles that I have for you here today that allowed me to scale past 6 figures. Because that was a big milestone in my mind when it came to scaling my businesses. Of course, I want to get past 6 figures. But I didn't want to have to put in all the extra work that I thought came along with scaling my Airbnb business. And I found out once you have different systems in place, you can scale to 100 properties and still do the same amount of work as you would do with 2, 3, or 4 properties. So we'll go ahead and we'll hop into those principles that I have for you here today. All right, so you're going to see a common theme between all of these 3 principles that I have for you here today. And that common theme is, how can I scale my Airbnb business without having to increase my workload, right? Because I don't want to have to increase my workload if the business is growing. I want to be able to manage 100 properties as smoothly and easily as I can currently manage 12. So currently right now I spend about, I'd say 5 to 10 hours a week managing all 12 of my properties. And if I were at 100 properties, I'd still be putting in about 5 to 10 hours a week because of the systems that I have in place. And that's just the cool thing about having an Airbnb business is you're able to scale. And when you have the correct automations and you have the correct systems in place, which I'm going to show you here in this video, it gives you the freedom to be able to keep scaling without having to work more every time you're getting a new property and all this other stuff. It's like if you have a hot dog stand, you're limited to the amount of hot dogs you can physically sell that day, because if you have a hot dog stand, it's literally you have to be out there and selling the hot dogs.
Hot dogs! Get your hot dogs here! Woohoo!
But with Airbnb, you don't have to be in the place, and I can run the business from anywhere in the world, which is really nice. All right, so the first principle that I have for you here today is in reference to your cleaners. Obviously, as you scale your business, you're going to need multiple cleaners that are cleaning your spaces for you. The cleaners come in after the guest checks out, cleaner goes in, cleans the space, gets it ready for the next guest that is checking in at 4 p.m. that day. And it's going to be a rinse and repeat. However, when it comes to your cleaners, there's a couple principles that I follow by here. So I'll give you the main one, and then I'll give you a bonus one here as well. So the main principle is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Meaning, if you have 2 of something, one of those 2 things will break and you will have 1. And if you have 1 of something, that 1 thing will break and you will have 0. A cleaner will call off one day. A cleaner will have to go to the doctor, the dentist. A cleaner will have to go take care of their kid with something. A cleaner will have a flat tire, whatever it is. And it's always important to have backup cleaners as you're going through. Because as a business owner, we do not want to have single points of failure. You want to think of your business as a coliseum with multiple pillars that are holding up the structure of your house/business, right? While a lot of Airbnb hosts, as well as a lot of different business owners, have single points of failure, and they're kind of like a diving board, where if the diving board breaks, guess what? You fall and the business crumbles. And we never want to have single points of failure in a business. So always have backups, and backups not only with your cleaners, but backups with everything. I have backup stock, I have backup supply in all of my spaces. In the cleaning closet, there's backups for everything that we need. Sometimes we just need a new shower curtain or a shower liner because the shower liner is gross and it just gets dirty. So we just have those backups in the space ready for the guest, at all times. We have those backups ready. So always have backups. Now, the second little bonus principle that I have here for you is in reference again to the cleaners. And this happened to me when I was scaling my business. So I went from 2 to 4 to 6 to all the way up to 12 properties. And when I was around, I think it was like 9 properties, I was just feeling overwhelmed by the amount of just like messaging and replying that I had to do, and just back and forth between myself and the cleaner. And I think when it comes to like automations, like you need to actually automate things, right? You need to remove yourself. Key to automation is you need to remove yourself as a bottleneck to the business when it comes to making decisions. Because if every decision in your company, in your Airbnb business has to go through you, then it just causes a headache for you at the end of the day, because your energy needs to be focusing on growing the business or on different projects or whenever I'm off work or just like, not in work mode, I'm going to be done with work for that day, right? I have that certain cutoff time where I'm like, all right, I'm done. So the trouble I was having is like the cleaners just needed me for all these different things. So I was just like having to go back and forth with all of my cleaners and all the messaging. So what I found as an easy solution, and this is now what I incorporate in multiple aspects of my business, is one, I give them independence and autonomy, saying, make the best decision here for whatever you think it is. And I let them know and say, hey, if there's ever an issue, let's say a lamp gets broken or something like that, and it needs to be solved, and you cannot get a hold of me, I'm giving you the executive order to make the decision to go and replace and whatever is needed for the space, make sure it is ready and make sure that is, when the guest checks in, it is ready. And the principle that allowed me to do this is if there's ever an issue that can be solved for under $100, then go ahead and just make that decision. Go ahead and just throw the $100 at whatever it needs fixed so that the guests will have a good time and for their stay and everything will be good. Come check in, go ahead and pay that $100 and I don't care what it is, solve it with $100. And now if it's over $100, then come and contact me and we can talk about, the order of which, we're going to go and fix this problem. So otherwise you're just going to get messages all the time from your cleaners and you don't want this. So a key so that you're not a bottleneck in your business is give your employees autonomy so that they can make decisions and make it so that they can make any decision that's under $100 that they can just go ahead and do what they need to do. So that's one little bonus I have there for you. So first key to scaling your business is going to be having multiple cleaners, as well as giving them autonomy and independence. And then the second key to scaling your business to over 6 figures is going to be making sure that you have automated messages that are sent to your guest. Now, you can do this easily within the Airbnb app, and I'm not going to go and show you that because you can just do that on there and just explore within the Airbnb app. But when it comes to setting those automations, you want to make sure, again, that you aren't the bottleneck to like sending every single message to your guest. You want to make sure that, when the guest books, they get an automated message. It's a warm, welcoming message that gets sent to them. And then they like, okay, cool. And then, hey, you're going to get these check-in instructions a couple hours before the day of check-in, because every guest essentially there's like a rotating frequently asked questions for guests, and you just want to be able to tackle all those within your automated message. So that's one way to think about when you're crafting your messages for your automated messages on Airbnb for your guest is how can I tackle all of the frequently asked questions for those automated messages. Now, when it comes to the principle for this key to scaling is you want to think of your guest, and I mean this in the kindest way possible, is you want to think of your guest as a 6-year-old or a 3rd grader that literally has never used Airbnb or never used any type of software or anything ever before, where it's like you're teaching them step by step that it's so simple that a 3rd grader could do it. Because, there's just like some guests that just have trouble. It's like, oh, I can't find this within the Airbnb app. Oh, where is the code? What is the Wi-Fi? You want to eliminate all these little things. Otherwise, you're just sending the same messages over and over and over and over and over again. But if you have this correct systems in place and correct automations in place, again, you remove yourself as the bottleneck for the business, and you can go and just have those key automations and very clear check-in instructions and very clear instructions for everything that the guest could possibly need. You want to have those clear instructions just all the way throughout their entire stay, from check-in to check-out to Wi-Fi codes, to where the trash is, to where they park, to what the door code is, to watch for this, to look for that. All of that, all crafted, all automated, all sent to them in those automated messages, as well as just detailed and really just ready for them at their fingertips whenever they need it. So you really can't spare when it comes to having enough details for your guests, because trust me, they're going to have questions for you. But if you have the correct systems in place, you don't have to worry about just getting bombarded by guest messages day in and day out. Okay, so the third and final key to scaling your Airbnb business to over 6 figures a year is going to be knowing exactly what you need to spend in order to acquire a new property. So exactly what you need to spend for a 1-bedroom, for a 2-bedroom, for a 3-bedroom within your market. You need to know those down to like the linens and what it actually costs, probably within $400 to $500 to know exactly what it's going to cost for you to acquire a new unit within your city. Now, the best thing to always do is, of course, what gets measured gets managed. Is you need to know, again, like down to the linens, what you're going to pay for towels, what you're going to pay for a coffee maker, what you're going to pay for this, that, and the other. I like to use a furnishing list where I just know exactly what I. So when I acquire a unit, I go and I'm like, okay, this is a unit in my city. It's, let's say $1,500 a month in rent. I know that I'm going to spend this exact much to furnish that unit because I can go in and look at my list. I can add it all to my Amazon cart and I can see, okay, I'm going to spend this much on furniture. I'm going to spend this much on rent and deposit. And then I can just get it all shipped, boom, boom, ready to go. And then I can know exactly what that looks like within a range of, like I said, $400 to $500. It's going to range, prices of items just fluctuate and things come in and out of stock. So that's why I kind of give that $500 leverage there. If you want to access the list, I'll actually put it down here in the comments. It seems to help out a few Airbnb guys. So I'll put that list below, and you can order all the same furnishings that I use. I think that's it. So use these principles. They've served me well to scaling my business to over 6 figures. And again, make sure that you're not the bottleneck. And the whole point of us having an Airbnb business, at least for myself, is one, I enjoy the business, but two, it's a freedom business for me because Airbnb is a stepping stone. I always tell this to all my students: Airbnb is a stepping stone to whatever we're really wanting to pursue. Because Airbnb is great because it allows us to work part time and make a damn good living when it comes to U.S. standards here in the U.S. So, all right, cool, my friends. I'll go and leave you with that, and I'll see you all in the next video.